Good morning. Well, it's almost it is midday. It's 1 o'clock, 1:05 actually. And I was going to fix myself a quick lunch. It's going to be a real healthy lunch. Probably not something you would consider fixing yourself or maybe even thought about. But it's a no-cook soup. And it's a really good soup. It's healthy. And we're going to get started with it. First of all, you're going to need your food processor or your blender, whichever one you want to use. And I've cut the recipe way down because I just want to fix basically a bowl of this soup for myself for lunch. I don't want 4 or 5, 6 bowls of this. So if you want more, then you can feel free to double, triple, quadruple your recipe to make more than just one bowl of it. First of all, I've got one of my little, now it usually calls for Persian cucumbers, but this is a nice little cucumber. It's one of my Big Daddy deals that I picked. So I'm going to use this one. I'm going to thinly peel it, because I don't want the dark hard peelings in there. And I could probably go ahead and put the peelings in it because they're not really that tough on one this little. But this is called Gazpacho. Gazpacho. It originated in Spain back in the 1800s. So this soup has been around a long time. And you can basically add or take away ingredients for it, you know, depending on what you like. You can add celery to it if you'd like. I'm not going to put celery in mine today. I'd rather have it just the original plain gazpacho recipe. But you can feel free to add anything you like. So that's the size cucumber that I'm using just for my one bowl of soup. So I'm just going to kind of chop it up a little bit in there. I've got tomatoes out of the garden that I picked yesterday. I'm not peeling them, I'm just cutting them in half. The big ones, so I am cutting the stem part off of it because I don't want that in my soup. But I'm cutting it up in fourths, you know, just so it's a lot easier to blend it. And I put that plate there to put this stuff in, and here I am putting it in the sink. Because I was going to put all this in my compost pile. Yeah, all of my scraps like this, my tomato, cucumbers, zucchini, all of that type of scrap goes in my compost. It makes good plant food and fertilizer for your plants. And I'm using one little red onion. I don't need much because, like I said, it's one bowl of soup. So I found the smallest little red onion I had that I pulled out of the garden. And I'm going to use that. That's going to be plenty for a bowl of soup. And like I said, if you want to make more than one bowl, double the recipe, triple it, whatever, until you get the amount that you want. Now I'm just going to cut up this little onion right in there. The blender's going to do the work for me. Got a little bitty Roma tomato here. I've got a mixture of different tomatoes that all came out of the garden. Cherry tomatoes. I've got golden jubilees. 'Golden 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 Jubilees. ' I'm going to keep a couple of the tiniest ones out for garnish that I'm going to top my soup with. This is a cold soup that's great for summertime. I only need 2 or 3 little tomatoes to keep for the top. Yeah, I got these right here. And they're just going to be cut in half. I'm going to leave them in my bowl until I get ready to garnish my soup later. Right back there. Now I'm going to put some zucchini in there. You know, I had a big zucchini that I was cooking the other day, and I've got this much of it left. So I'm going to cut off part of it. It's not going to take much, about the same amount of zucchini as I had cucumber. That'll be plenty right there as soon as I get it peeled. I mean, this may end up being 2 bowls of soup, I don't know. And I want to go ahead and peel it because I don't want those peelings in there. But this is a great soup that you can make for one person. You may want to take some of the seeds out if you got tough seeds in there. Just quarter it and cut some of your seeds out. I don't want the real tough seeds in my soup. It's easy enough to cut the seeds out if you don't want them in there. Yeah, that's plenty. I got seeds on the counter. I've got a clove of garlic here, as soon as I can get it peeled. This is fresh garlic that I got out of the garden when I planted garlic. And you know, I had kept it. Just going to squish it a little bit, put it right in there. Okay, let's make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm going to put about 1/8 of a cup of water. That's probably enough. I'm going to put salt and pepper. Not much. I don't want it too salty. Just breathe the garlic. Oh, and I almost forgot. If I can get to it without knocking the camera over. I always get the camera in front of the refrigerator. We need a little bit of sour cream. Not much. And I'm going to put that over here so I don't forget later. And I've got my first red bell pepper from the garden, y'all. Remember, I've told you I was waiting for it to turn red? Well, look at that. I picked the other two when they were completely green, and this one's not completely red, but it is turning. And my recipe does call for red bell pepper, so it's only going to take a quarter of this, not much. So I'm going to use it in here. Yeah, that's going to be plenty right there. Ah. Now I lost my... I can't believe I did that. Let me get another piece of it. But the red bell pepper has like a sweeter taste, I think, than a lot of the other ones do. So we're just gonna chop up about a quarter of a pretty good sized red bell pepper and put it in there. Oh, I forgot a little bit of olive oil. About a teaspoonful. And we need red wine vinegar. That's going to go in there. We're going to put about a spoonful. About a tablespoonful. And we'll taste it later and see if we need to add more. Now we're just going to liquefy this, turn it into soup. Got some of it going up the top. I'm going to need the rest of that water in there. I'm going to check it for how liquidy it is. Yep, that's good. Oh my gosh, that tastes so good. Okay, I need to add a little bit more oil, I think. About a tablespoon of oil. A little bit, another spoonful of red wine vinegar. And I'm doing it to my taste, y'all. Y'all can do it to your taste. And a little bit more salt. Now we're just gonna put this back in there and now, in the real world, but for my video, I'm not going to do it, but for the real world, what you would do, this is your completed soup. You would put it in a container or a big bowl, put it in the refrigerator for about an hour or so. You want it thoroughly chilled, but my vegetables were already thoroughly chilled, so I'm going to not do that step of putting it in the refrigerator. I've got olive oil here in my pan. Actually, it's a good old Italian style way of toasting your bread. I've got bacon grease in there. A little bit of bacon grease. Now, you can do this in your oven, or if you have a small toaster, you can do it in a small toaster. Either one you'd like to do. But I've got some French bread here. I'm going to cut a pretty good thick slice of it. Maybe 2 slices. I like bread with my soups. And we're just toasting our bread right now. Now, I've also got a avocado. I want to pay attention to my bread, though. I don't want my bread to burn. I'm turning my oven on broil. And sometimes I wish I had just a little broiler oven to do this. I don't have to heat up the whole oven, but it only takes a few minutes, so I don't mind it that bad. And right now I'm over here gonna basically peel my avocado. I love avocado. And avocado is so good for you. It is really one of the health foods. I'm cutting some thin slices of my avocado. Doesn't need many. I can hold them up. That's probably good. Leave that there for later. I've got fresh basil out of the garden. I love to smell fresh basil. Now what I'm going to do with the basil is just slice it up. Chop it up a little bit. In thin slices. Oh, it's toasting real good. That bacon, that little bit of bacon drippings in the bottom of it just does a world of wonders with your bread when it toasts it. Better hold the end of that because it may fall. I judged it pretty close, y'all. That's a bowl of gazpacho soup. Now, that's all I want to do with that. I'm going to put it over here. And this is what I got my Swiss cheese for. And I didn't want to buy a whole great big package of Swiss cheese. I just got rid of my knife. It's supposed to be shredded, y'all, but I didn't get a whole package of shredded, so I'm just going to slice it up a little bit. Yeah, that one slice is going to be plenty to go on top of both of these pieces of toast. And they'll never know the difference. It's shredded. It's cheese. Doesn't have to be exact. As long as it's there, right? Now I'm going to put this in the toaster just long enough to melt the cheese, the Swiss cheese on top. And I'm sorry, I thought you could see what I was doing. But I toasted my bread in my pan, both sides. And now I've put it in my pan to put it in the broiler just to melt the cheese and brown it just a tiny bit. And hope I don't burn it. And while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to garnish my soup with my avocado. Now you can put as much avocado on there as you want. I guess I could put more on there than that if I'd quit throwing my knives away. Because who doesn't love avocado? I mean, I love it. I could just sit there and eat nothing but avocado. We're going to put a little bit of the basil around on it. And it's sticking to my fingers. Gotta check on my bread. I don't want it to burn. Almost. It started to, but it's okay. Turn that off. I got my sour cream. a dab of my sour cream on there. And I had saved a couple of little halves of cherry tomatoes. Didn't even need as many as I saved. Put right on my sour cream. Woo, that's hot. Pretty warm. I could have put that in a bigger bowl. I mean, a bigger plate, but there you go. Gazpacho. A cold tomato cucumber soup with toasted bread topped with Swiss cheese. Toasted Swiss cheese. Don't that look good, y'all? Looks good to me. Looks real good to me. Trying to get some of all of it up on my... Look at that. Don't that look good? Y'all take a bite. Gazpacho soup. That's pretty good on a hot day. And your toast. French bread with Swiss cheese melted on it. That's lunch, y'all. Fix some. I think you'll really enjoy it. There you go. Gazpacho. A really cool, refreshing soup for a hot summer day. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Love y'all. Bye now.